What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Made in Abyss Season 2. This is episode 11, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much should have expected that this would continue to get even more bloodier than before, but this
Yeah.
this is even more brutal than how I really imagined it to be. But yeah, so what happens? Picking up after the last episode, Fabata knocks out Reg. After he desperately tries to calm her down, but with Reg out of commission, Fabata pretty much tries to attack Rico, believing that her to be the reason that he has amnesia since the beginning of the show. But of course, several other Hollows try to intervene to shield Rico from getting attacked, but of course, everyone else is still almost getting slaughtered in the process.
She's also stopped by Gaborone,
Yeah,
or the robot, who basically tells her, if you kill or if you do anything to Rico, that Reg will no longer, I guess his way of saying, Reg will no longer associate with you or something, you will lose Reg.
Yeah. And of course, this pretty much only enrages Fabata even further. And it gets to the point where both Nanichi and Belloff finally arrive, with Nanichi wearing some kind of armor from the other Hollows that sacrificed themselves for her.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's of course, shortly after this, there's kind of, I guess, I don't know if you'd even call it a fight, but sort of a confrontation between Fabata and Belloff, where it looks pretty one-sided for the most part. Fabata is just basically ripping him apart, but we find out that basically Belloff isn't really intending to fight her. It's more they end up colliding, and he transfers all these memories he has of Waco and Iram Yui into her, which I think previously Fabata didn't really know who Waco was, and then now she has all of these memories of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course this leads Fabata confused and pretty much I don't know. It's just she's almost in despair at several points, trying to understand why she should feel compassion for the villagers that consumed her siblings. But eventually, the whole amount of chaos leads to all these different monsters from the outside to begin entering and attacking the village.
Yeah, basically because the barrier had been destroyed, all the monsters are able to get in and just kill everybody, just destroy the entire village.
Yeah, and this leads into, I don't know, Fabata just gets completely brutalized by all these monsters. It's
actually even worse in the manga.
Yeah, she gets,
especially the part where half of her face is gone. That I was actually a little bit on. I was a little bit surprised because I was thinking that would be much more brutal. Because in the manga you see the detail of her skull and all that stuff. They didn't really go that far in the anime though, and I was a little bit surprised. I guess they could maybe touch that scene up in the Blu-ray, but yeah,
you see her getting smashed, clawed.
Yeah.
On, chewed on, spat out. It's that's almost brutal. And I would understand why. It's just because because they're trying to broadcast this publicly, they don't want to overdo it to the point where they'll get taken down for it.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable, but they've showed. I guess they're really straddling the line in that case, because there's just a lot of things where I'm just kind of surprised that's even allowed, I guess. But
yeah, it's she gets dismembered, her eyes missing, half of her body is just completely destroyed. It's a miracle that she barely stays alive for that amount of time. And then,
she is technically immortal, so she can't. I guess she can't really die. But yeah, she can. I guess she can experience all that pain. Of just being eaten and just torn apart.
Yeah. There is a one little scene in which what was it? It was fuck, I forgot that guy. It was Waco and that other guy. What was it?
Yeah.
They pretty much witnessed the entire thing, like while like Wazukan's keeping Waco hostage, and they eventually, Wazukan eventually like takes Waco with him into the like I don't know where they're going to actually, unless like someone can bring it up.
Like Wazukan basically decides to abandon, like pretty much just like as soon as he sees, I guess, the monsters or the creatures coming in, he's just at that point he just realizes, I guess, he can't really protect the village anymore, so he just decides to leave with her.
Yeah. So back to Fapata, as she's laying like almost in a near death state, like several villagers come in and begin sacrificing their parts for her, which allows her to regenerate her body completely.
Yeah, basically they explain the reason for that is because, like, she's, I guess, Fapata is the embodiment of value, and they can't allow her to I guess they can't allow her to die or something like that. But yeah, that's why they're like sacrificing parts of their body to save her.
Yeah, and she's conflicted by this too, because they're showing compassion for someone that's like literally trying to slaughter them. But eventually she accepts this, and then she not only does she fully regenerate, but like her form just, I guess, gets more enhanced physically of sorts. So but that's the episode just pretty much ends with Fapata getting ready to fight the monsters again.
There are some other scenes with Nanachi where she's trying to trying to protect the villagers to help them evacuate or something. And she also speculates, I suppose, as to what Wazukan's, like, I guess what his plan is, like, or what he would have done with those what was it, the wish granting eggs, that he might have, I guess that what he would have done if he would have implanted them inside of Riko or something, and then I guess maybe it possibly would have been like his backup plan to implant the eggs within her and create another kind of village like he did with Iramui, like out of her or something. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. Like, it goes by pretty quick, mostly because a lot of it's just Fapata getting just completely brutalized by these monsters. That's the majority of the episode, really.
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it's almost hard to watch. Just seeing Fapata getting brutalized like that over and over again.
Well, and then you also see some of, I guess, some of her siblings also get killed by some of these creatures. And we also, like, the episode ends off with I think the thing's called the Turbident Dragon comes in. And then, I guess Fapata's planning to fight it. And as we know, the Turbident Dragon's pretty hard to kill, and it's like one of the most dangerous, creatures in the Abyss. And I think also, like, it ends up killing some of the villagers as well, or some other things in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed the episode, and I think though it's adapting the manga pretty well for the most part. If I remember correctly, I think it'll either end in is this going to be 12 or 13 episodes?
There's 13 episodes. So
okay.
And of course we know that the 13th and final episode is going to be a double length episode.
Yeah. It was a pretty good episode. I'm pretty interested into how they're, what they're going to do with the next one. I of course I know what's going to happen next, but like I said, for the most part, it's been a pretty faithful adaptation, so I don't really have any complaints on that in that regard. I mean, there are some things that they've altered a little bit and they've cut some things out, but as far as I remember, nothing too important. So yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
It's a pretty good season so far. I mean, it's unfortunate that the season's already going to be ending this soon. I mean, I was hoping for a little bit more than this, but I mean, I haven't read the manga, so I don't know how long the story is going for, unless
it's getting pretty well in terms of this arc. It's getting pretty close to the end. I know, of course, the manga is still going, and I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll probably continue the anime. But of course, it depends on how far along the manga is. But yeah, I would say, like, from what I've read and from what I've seen of the anime, at least, like, this is probably, I would say actually this is probably my favorite story arc, just because of how, like, I mean, it's kind of just everything you expect from Made in Abyss in terms of its brutality and how depressing it can get and how emotional it gets at times. Like, I would say, like, the close second would be the story arc with, I don't know how exactly you pronounce his name, but Bondred and Nanachi. And like I really like that one, but this one's probably the best from the series. So yeah, but yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.